And before we end, we do have a few announcements. Presentations for this and other sessions are available within the agenda page. Go to the agenda, click on the session title, and when the session page opens, scroll all the way to the bottom and you will see the presentation saved there. The session page is also where you can access the WebEx meeting. At the top of the page, you will see a button that says Join WebEx Meeting. So you can click right there and enter each individual WebEx meeting. Thank you so much. And with that, we're going to pass it on to Patrick Patterson.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you guys are well. Can you hear me okay? Give me a thumbs up in the chat box so I can make sure you guys can hear me. Somebody can hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Debbie. Wow is the way that I would end today. We've been doing, I think, a pretty good job of having some experts join us, but also hearing great feedback from you guys. And just want to say thank you guys for participating today, being with us. I joked earlier about my favorite Peyton Manning saying, and he was under center. He would say, Omaha, Omaha, where you have to basically audible. And I think we've done a wonderful job and we've scored today using my football analogy. The last thing I will say to you guys before I give you a couple of takeaways is just put in the chat box a word or two to describe your experience today. The richness of the conversations, the feedback, the dialogue from you guys to us, but just put in the chat box anything to describe your experience with the content that you heard today will be really, really helpful so we can get feedback in preparation for tomorrow. I've got a few points that I want to make. One is, as we finish today, you guys will have the opportunity to do the social hangout, which is kind of like the lobby of a hotel. And so you'll be invited to that afterwards. The second thing that you've heard today is a lot of conversation around the virtual collaborative community. We're calling it the VCC. It's literally the 15th floor of a hotel for fatherhood practitioners. It is a virtual space that will do more of this throughout the year and years to come. It's a space we've designed just for you, but it's designed based on your feedback and input. And so tomorrow, as we get started, you're going to hear more about that. But let me just go through some highlights from today's conversation. We heard some amazing acronyms from some of my best mentors and colleagues. Ricky Barr with BREAD, and then Kelly with the acronym around the acronym for GREAT were powerful. Kenny and Seth Chamberlain, Kenny Braswell opened us up, our director, opened us up with some powerful comments to get us started, but also just kind of grounding the conversation. I cannot stop thinking about the tribute to Hopper Sullivan. If you were blessed to know him, you're blessed because he changed everybody who knew him. He changed their lives when it comes to the work that we're doing, but also personally. He made you feel like he touched you every time he spoke to you, even if it was over the phone. So grateful for that tribute. From the workshop or the session with Dr. Boucher, Dr. Cabrera, and Dr. Perry, I heard several things around stats, but what touched me the most was just that dads care. And there's data that suggests one thing, but there's also the reality of the situation that most of our fathers are facing. I just thought about and just was touched with this quote, which there is hope in the face of the data. The data tells us a bunch of stuff, but I have hope hearing their conversation. And then you heard from two amazing gentlemen, Ron Thomas and Kelly Little, both who've been doing this work for a number of years on the practical side with the masterful facilitation of Nigel Vann. I thought were all very enriching, and I just can't say enough about just the diversity of perspectives, but also the inclusion of you guys' feedback throughout the chat box throughout today's summit. I cannot say how grateful I am for today. The last thing I'll say is just barriers and bridges. I like the way that Nigel ended today, their session, but I'll say barriers and bridges. As you're doing the work, the way that I typically do the work with fathers directly is I'm wondering every time I speak to them, am I serving as a barrier or a bridge? And as I leave you today, I ask you just to pose the question to yourself. As you're thinking about policies, if you're an administrator, if you're a program director, if you're a frontline staff, if you're a van driver, if you're the person that gets the food for the fathers, for the group meetings, if you're the manager of technology, when you're doing your work every day, are you serving as a barrier or a bridge for these fathers? At the end of the day, our job, our desire is to enrich the lives of our children. And you're connected to that, I'm connected to that, but we have a responsibility to be either a barrier or a bridge. I know you guys are bridges. The last thing I'll say is everything is going to be posted on the website once we conclude from today. Tomorrow we start at 12 Eastern sharp. 12 Eastern sharp. You do not want to miss the start of tomorrow's session. You're going to be invited, but also exposed to the VCC, which you do not want to miss. And I'm going to dare to say there's a surprise for you guys. Kenny, can I share the surprise or should I hold off on the surprise? I'll hold off on the surprise. Okay. You guys will have a surprise tomorrow. Kenny says hold. You guys will have a surprise tomorrow as we get started at 12 noon. So if you can, please jump on before 12 so you don't miss the surprise as we start with Sharice Johnson. Ms. Wright says, S. Wright says, please share. Bob says, I like surprises. I'm sorry, guys. Kenny is the director, so I got to give Kenny his due. We're going to hold the surprise. If you can just take a nap, wake up tomorrow and log in, you're going to see what we're talking about. So with that, I'm going to close out. I will bid you guys farewell and a great night. This has been a wonderful day, and we're looking forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Don't forget to go to the social hangout where you guys can connect, network, and talk to other conference attendees today. So thank you guys for everything, and we'll see you guys first thing tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern.
And with that, this session has ended. You may disconnect.